Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Coach One Sports. Yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones. All right, so here we got it. I'm going to make this short, quick for you. Listen, guess who made it to the national championship game? Guess who made it? You want to know? You want to talk about it real quick? We can talk about it real quick. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that button, subscribe. Make sure you comment. I do respond. Y'all know I respond. Make sure that you like. Most importantly, I appreciate you taking time to sit with me for a few minutes. I just want to drop some knowledge about what happened and how did we get to this point. Well, guess what, sports fans? It's not a Cinderella team. Let's not call it a Cinderella team. They were built for this moment. Coach Sonny Dykes took over a program from Gary Patterson, team that went 5-7 last year. This year, they only had one loss on their record, and that was in overtime in the conference championship game. The greatest thing about this team, they had 5 games where they came back. They were in deficits at halftime, and they had 5 second half victories, coming behind victories. They had one game against Oklahoma State. They down 17 or 18 points. The other game, it was against Kansas State. They also were down by points in the regular season's game. They went through the regular season undefeated until they got to the championship game and lost in overtime to Kansas State. They turn around and play against the University of Michigan. They demolished Ohio State on their home field by over 20 points this past season. Michigan State supposedly has the number 1 offensive line in the nation. They got the Coach Moore Award for that title, for that accomplishment. All right. They turned around and demolished. I'm talking about the Horned Frogs. They got in the they got in the playoff game and demolished them. Okay. Here's the thing about the TCU Horned Frogs. They don't flinch. They don't flinch. Even in the midst of most of their games, and I watched every last one of them, they came back against Baylor, the game against Texas, which was truly a head knocker against Bijan Robinson, running back for University of Texas Longhorns. They held him to under 70 yards rushing. Okay. The whole season, they have had to play in adverse situations where everybody gives them their best shot. And in most games, they were losing, sports fans. They were losing. And they came back and won. How did they do it? Is it the player? Is it the coaching? Guess what? It's both. It is one of the best football stories of the season. And for people like me that coach the game, we enjoy watching coaches get their roses while they're out here trying to make these kids successful. In this case, of the 22 starters on the field for the Horned Frogs, only 4 are what we call 4 stars. Okay, only 4. Okay, Wes Harris, the guard, Quentin Johnson, the big tall receiver, one of the top 100 players in the nation, who's coming out of high school. Max Dugan, who's of course the quarterback, throwing for over 3,700 yards, 3,500 yards, and only 6 interceptions. Has done a fantastic job of being the leader of the offense. You know, over 30 touchdowns. What a magnificent player he's been. And then also you have Bud Clark, who leads the team in interceptions with 5. Okay, and guess what? He's not even the person that got the Jim Thorpe Award. Okay, Jim Thorpe Award going to the most prolific defensive back in collegiate football. That went to Travius Hodges Tomlinson. So you're talking about 4 kids that were 4-star when they came out of high school. Everybody else said TCU are 2 stars and 3 stars. I saw so many 2s and 3 stars. I thought I was looking at Michael Jordan's basketball number. I thought I was looking at 23. These kids, so they didn't come out with all of the acclaim and the notoriety. What does that tell you? That means that Coach Dykes and his staff, along with the previous staff that was there before he got there, took these players and they started developing slowly but surely. Okay, the previous staff before Coach Dykes, okay, they didn't survive the work that they put into these kids. However, Coach Dykes came in, Coach Gillespie came in as defensive coordinator. They did a wonderful job of developing a toughness, a don't flinch, don't let the moment overwhelm you mentality that has allowed TCU to stay level at all times. I had a chance to talk to some coaching buddies of mine, and the thing that kept sticking out to me about TCU is, first of all, the whole Madden games. People play these Madden games. Kids play these Madden games, and for the special, let's just say special teams. There's a rating for special teams. There's a rating for the offense. There's a rating for the defense. And when you play these Madden games, let's just say you pick a team like the Cowboys, and their offensive rating is a 98, and then their defensive rating is a 95, and then the special team is a 90. Okay, that's just the ratings, and they're talking about the higher the number, the better ability and the better the team is in those scenarios and categories. Guess what? If you were to compare that to what TCU is doing right now, they are level 98 offense, 98 defense, 98 special teams. What does that mean in a game of this magnitude coming up on Monday? It means that you got a team that doesn't allow situations to overwhelm them. They don't have a problem playing from behind. They can make big plays with the offense, big plays with the defense, big plays with the special teams. All those areas, they play at a high level. Okay, and there are no peaks and valleys. It's consistent. Hats off to the assistant coaches and that help these kids stay in a place of remembering the next play. TCU Horned Frogs, you got a great staff. You had a great season. Have the best linebacker trio in collegiate football. Now, yes, there are some individual players especially in SEC and other places in collegiate football where you have special individual players on the team. But I'm talking about a group of 3 linebackers that play in the defense for TCU Horned Frogs. They are the best in the nation as a collective group. I'm talking about Jamoy Hodge. I'm talking about D. Winters. I'm talking about the Hodges kid that came out of Navy. He played lacrosse at Navy. Come on, sports fans. Transferred in over to TCU. And now look how he's the leading tackle on the team. We're talking about the Hodges Tomlinson kid. We're talking about Bud Clark. We're talking about Mark Perry. Okay, the offensive line. Watch this about the offensive line. The offensive line, when they line up to start the game on Monday, the national championship game, those 5 offensive linemen will have started 75 games collectively for the whole season. These guys will have played 15 games. Each position player will have started 15 games this year. All 5, you count that up, that's 75 starts. That is a veteran group. Nowhere in college football will you ever hear of such a thing. Most of their players are 5th-year seniors, 6th-year seniors, redshirt juniors. They don't have any freshmen or sophomores starting at all. Okay, it is a truly veteran team, battle-tested, been through so many wars with Baylor, with Oklahoma State, with Texas. We're talking about games where they were behind. They have a balanced attack with Quentin Johnson at receiver. They have the Kendra Miller, who, yes, he got banged up in the playoff game, but of course, he's going to play the national championship game. But he's almost had 1,400 yards rushing this year, okay, with 17 touchdowns. Average yards per carry is 6.2. But you don't hear about him. Why is it that TCU doesn't get that love? They don't get the shine. You know what? Great question to ask. I'm sure the TCU fans, y'all want to know the same thing. But this is what you can hang your hat on. They have answered the bell against everybody they played. Yes, Kansas State got them in the overtime in the conference championship game. Did they flinch? Did the Horned Frogs get nervous? Did they cry and whine about it? I'll be honest with you. I was one of the main ones thinking that they were not going to get into the playoffs. I didn't think so. I thought Alabama was going to go. I did. As my confession, I have to give it to you, sports fans. I got to keep it real. Was I wrong? Obviously, I was very wrong. And that maybe that was some of the fan part of me talking, but the coach part of me knew how good TCU was the whole season, and they haven't let their fans down, and they've proved to the naysayers that they belong on the highest level and getting a chance to play the best team in college football, University of Georgia Bulldogs. Sports fans, nobody is picking TCU to win. Okay, nobody believes it. Cinderella story, that's too mushy for me. I want to call it Cinderella story. I want to give the coaches they love and tell them, hey, man, you guys have busted your butts. You've done a great job of getting these kids prepared to play, and they're going to show up and show out. You know, the players, hey, listen, do what you do. You're going to play against the best team, the defending national champion, University of Georgia Bulldogs. I tell you right now, they're not backing down. They come with a swag. They mean with it. They tough with it. It's actually going to be a mirror of two teams that kind of do the same things. They love to hit you in the mouth. Okay, Stetson Bennett for Georgia, Max Duggan for the Horned Frogs. It should be a wonderful display of athleticism, toughness, skill, grit, big plays, shocking events in the game as far as peaks and valleys, highs and lows. And one thing that TCU has that Georgia doesn't have, because, of course, Georgia last year had 15 kids go in the NFL draft. TCU has 22 of their 22 starters. 8 of them played 30 or more games in their career, and another 14 played 20 plus games in their collegiate career. That's a lot of football. That's a lot of veteran leadership, veteran when it comes to experiences and ebb and flows of a game, prepare for sudden change. Things happen. How do you adjust? How do you react to it? Excuse me. Do you get too high? Great saying from Coach Saban that he always uses: play with emotion, but do not be emotional. TCU Horned Frogs will figure that out. They're in the national championship game. Can they beat UGA? We're about to find out. And my favorite saying I like to use, going to get the butter from the duck. Somebody's going to come out on top. There will be no ties. There will be no tomorrow. Ding, ding, ding. Horned Frogs. Answer the bell. Time to play the game. You appreciate hearing stuff like this, talking football about college football teams and their success. Please make sure you subscribe, you comment. You know I'm going to respond back to whatever you say. And once again, like and share. Thank you so much for watching Coach One Sports. Yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones. We'll see you later.